Good morning, my dudes. I sound like such an idiot. Welcome to another Breakfast with Bobby. I'm here in my kitchen and I'm recording a little segment while I put some breakfast together and, make it the world to go around. So I'm jumping in today because there's been a lot of buzz over on Anchor, on where we host our podcast. A whole lot of buzz regarding with listens. A lot of you guys have been listening, and it really kind of is amazing. And I didn't really mention this in the last podcast because we recorded the intro and outro live at. When we did that, we recorded it live at Three Bells Outfitters, and there's something kind of in the works that I kind of had done some testing with. I tested it with the Patreon members that are over there. To see how it would work out, and it worked unbelievably well. And I want to give a big shout out to Rodney for making this suggestion. Rod and Rerod Fishing on Instagram. He had this suggestion and sent it via DM on. It was Saturday. It was as I was recording an interview with Daniel Crater. Who is our, we call him our staff biologist, but now we're calling him Professor Daniel. Anyway, I'm getting off track. What Rodney had suggested was the idea of doing a podcast that was when we record our intros and outro segments, because that's what we do. We record everything in bits. We have the interview segment. If we have another guest with like an event or something, we interview them. We also, what are you doing, Hudson? We also have, the intro and the outro get recorded as close to the episode air date as possible, depending on what we have going around that day and also depending on schedule. So Sean and I will often do that via either a Zoom call or this other product that we use called StreamYard. And StreamYard is how we do our live streams for YouTube and Facebook. And I got to be honest, StreamYard's really sophisticated in the sense that it allows you to kind of engage with some people and make comments. That's part of the reason why we like it so much. But Rodney had suggested the idea of opening up a private live stream for the Patreon members so that they could kind of see the unedited intro and outro of the podcast, like as it starts getting together, sort of basically getting the podcast early. But I decided, after thinking about it, like I could do it even one more, level up after that, and that's by using StreamYard and running that. We could then have the Patreon members that are viewing this comment and engage. So if we're having a conversation and you want to weigh in and or we ask you guys for your feedback, you can then post in the comments and you can actually be a part of the show. Really is what it is. Pardon my sizzling pan here as I start getting my breakfast together. So that's kind of what the thought is behind all this, is the idea of like, well, now we have a way that we can engage our Patreon audience, because we have, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I feel terrible. We've been slacking on Patreon in a huge way. It's just every time we get a great idea, every time something comes up that's like this fantastic thought, it ends up getting tossed into the pile of ideas that go right into the podcast, because we're always looking for great content ideas for the podcast too. So this is a great way to kind of have like a constant flow of interesting stuff over there and give you guys a real reason to be on top of that. Now, there will be other items getting into the Patreon as well, but if you want to jump on and check out what it's all about, you can do so right now. All you got to do is be a Patreon member. We're recording our next session this Sunday. I think I got to double check the time. I made a post at the time. It's either 9 or 9:30 in the morning. What we'll be doing is setting up everything and basically leaving like a slide up on the screen so that, you guys will be able to see that, and, we'll populate the room. And then we'll start like a 30-second countdown right before we get started. And then we're just going to record the segment. And we'll go through our regular, weekly rigmarole, you know what I'm saying. We'll go through our regular weekly routine for the show, except that instead of it just being the two of us talking into microphones, it'll be the two of us, and we'll be able to have you there engaging with it. So a couple of bits of information about our Patreon, okay? So I wanted to make it as affordable as possible, so we came up with a nice easy number, $5. $5 a month is the contribution to be over there. Now, that's a limited run. There is only 100 spots in total available. And we have about 30 or 40 that are already in there. If you want to jump on, it's easy. All you have to do is go to jigsandbigs.com, and right at jigsandbigs.com, you can connect to our Patreon. All you got to do, I think there's actually a tab right at the top. You just go and connect there. Set all that stuff up, and if you don't love it, you can unsubscribe anytime you want. It's totally cool, But it's basically for like the price of, a couple cups of coffee. You can, have a month long of access to this podcast where you get to engage, you get to communicate, you get to kind of, get your input in there, and also like if there's something that we're missing, this happens a lot, where something will be going on in the fishing world. And Sean or myself will just overlook it, or it'll happen a little bit too close to where we're getting our notes together, and it just gets overlooked. This way, it allows us to sort of, keep on tabs. You guys can kind of keep us accountable for some of these things, which is kind of cool, if we're discussing something and we throw something out there, and this happens a lot too, where we'll be talking about something in another state, like laws might be different, or something might change up from location to location. Seasons, that's another great example. Like, depending on where you live, your seasons can be completely different from what we experience here. So now you sort of get the ability to kind of throw your 2 cents in there, and make it all happen. Now, we will be screening the comments that come through. So, like, if we get like 1 million people in there that are saying like, hey, give me a shout out, blah, blah, blah. We're obviously not going to engage with those comments per se. We're gonna, we have the ability to choose what we bring on and what we don't. So we're trying to, limit that so that it's not necessarily a problem. But at the same time, keep in mind, you guys know us, and we like to have fun. So keep that in mind. We'd love to have you guys involved. I'm walking across the kitchen now to throw some onion skins in the garbage. But as we get a little bit closer and as things start kind of happening over at Patreon, if you're interested in this is a great way for you to check it out, kind of get into it, at your own comfort level, and it's affordable. Now, after those 100 spots show up, that $5 mark, after those are all full, you guys get that $5 for life. You'll be on there the entire time. I mean, as long as you're a member, you're going to maintain that $5 membership. We do have the potential to add more people, and hopefully this grows and becomes something amazing all by itself. But the price was going to increase for those other members, and it will stay locked at life for that. So it's basically a supply and demand. If you guys are into it and you want to check it out, go over to jigsandbigs.com, sign up on our Patreon. All the information that you need is right over there. And trust me, it's well worth it. You're going to love it. Sean and I are really excited about this because our favorite thing about doing this podcast, aside from all the fame and fortune, is our favorite thing about doing this podcast really is engaging with you guys. That's what it's, for us, that's really what it's all about. That's part of the reason why we want to fish with listeners as often as, as often as humanly possible. Like, we just want to be engaging with you guys, the most that we're able to. And I think that using this kind of technology is going to allow us to. And I think, after doing some testing, I feel really positive about the way it's all going to sort of come together. I think this is a really great thing for everybody involved. So check it out, jigsandbigs.com, Patreon. I'm going to continue making my breakfast here, guys. Enjoy the show. Thanks to everybody who's been listening. We've been, our listenership has just been blowing up over the past couple of episodes. The amount of growth in the last 2 weeks has been, it's been steady really all through the Christmas sort of season and all through the holidays and everything. But the last couple of weeks has been a spike, and I'm not 100% sure what that reason is, but, I can only say it's got to be because you guys are awesome. So thank you very much. That's going to do it for this Breakfast with Bobby. We're going to go ahead and, look, R&R Outdoors just tagged me in a post on Instagram. Go give R&R Outdoors a follow. Go give Rodney a follow. Just do it now. If you don't already follow him, man, give him a follow. Him and his son have some amazing adventures. They have, great content, good stuff, good folks. Everybody we follow on Instagram is good folks. So, guys, thank you. We'll see you next week with a great episode. And I'll see you at the live stream for the intro and outro this Sunday.